Hi there, VC. It's Steve Whitty here. It's Sunday morning. It's a little bit foggy out there, but spring is on its way. I posted a photo on Instagram of blossom coming from one of the trees from the park that's just behind me. I hope everything's well with you. I'm feeling actually not too shabby at the moment. Things are looking good. Been listening to some good music. Yeah, things are a lot bright. The outlook's a lot brighter at the moment. Let's have a quick slurp. So, this video is again more recent finds, more LPs I've been listening to recently. I've got hold of and I've had a listen. I think there's about 12 in here. So, without further ado, I'll start with the first one. Now, this one is pretty much an upgrade copy for me, and is Rainbow's Long Live Rock and Roll. It's the band's third album, which was released in 1978. There we go, that's better. It was the last album to feature Ronnie James Dio on vocal. My original copy was a reissue, which wasn't the gatefold. The gatefold on here, you've got basically it's a picture of a Rush concert where they've imposed the Long Live Rock and Roll on. It was actually the Rush Starman logo. And to me, this sort of signals the start of a change of direction for the band, which I think led to Ronnie Dio leaving. The songs are a lot shorter. And there's certainly a sort of shift. In a way, it's starting to come popular. They did have some minor hit singles off this album. It was the first album to chart top 10 in the UK, reached 89 in the US. It actually doesn't feature all the band. The lineup featuring Bob Daisley on bass and David Stone on keyboards. I think I only played on a couple of tracks. I think it was quite a lot of the work was done prior to them joining. And in fact, Kill the King, which is the opening track on side 2, it was already been featured on the On Stage Live album. Good album though. It's certainly worth checking out. Changing direction slightly, and this is Diana Ross's Everything is Everything. This is her second solo album, released in 1970. Probably the best known track on here is I'm Still Waiting, which was a #1 hit single in the UK. There are a couple of Beatle covers on here, Come Together and Long and Winding Road, and They Long to Be Close to You, which the Carpenters had a big hit with. Yeah, it's just standard Diana Ross fare. Just scraped the top 50 in both US and UK as an album, but still not a bad album. I love a good comp, and this is definitely a good comp. This is Golden Hour Records presents Sandy Shaw's Greatest Hits. Now, this came out in 1972. Golden Hour literally was a company, I think I've mentioned it before, and they used to cram an hour onto an album. There's 23 tracks on here. All the well-known stuff on the 60s, Puppet on a String, or Something There to Remind Me, Message Understood, Girl Don't Come, I Stop at Nothing. So all her major hit singles, plus some album tracks. Probably one of the more interesting of the 60s singers, Sandy Shaw. Sort of initially well known for performing barefoot, which was considered quite shocking at the time. It was classed as an Essex girl. And she won the Eurovision Song Contest in 1967 for Puppet on a String, but she almost wasn't allowed to enter. And this is probably how much a sign of times. It turned out she was having an affair with somebody, and that was considered a bit of a no-no. So yeah, so that's Sandy Shaw there. It's worth checking. She's worth checking out. if you've never heard of her. Bruce Springsteen, Darkness on the Edge of Town. This is his fourth album, released in 1978. This was the first album in 3 years. This came up towards the end of legal issues he was having with his former manager, Mike Appel. At the time when this came out, this was very critically lauded for how mature it sounded for him. It was his first top 10 album in the US, and it reached number 5 in the US, number 16 in the UK. Badlands, Adam Razor Kane, the title track itself. It is a really good album. I actually enjoyed listening to it. I hadn't listened to this in a long while. So I was really pleased to have this. And also, if I remember to say, it released 78, like Punk New Wave. NME named this as their album of the year in 78. So let's have another slurp. The throat's getting a little dry. Next album, changing vein. This is Stylistics Fabulous. This is their 8th album, released in 1978. It was the last album to chart in the UK for them. Stylistics were very popular sort of mid 70s, top 10 number 1 singles, I think. On here, the best known track on here I remember is their version of Can't Help Falling in Love, which I think was a hit single. As I said, tastes were changing a little bit, and as I said, this was their last album to chart in the UK. From then, I suppose they did the cabaret circuit in the UK. It's not a bad album. I mean, it's my second Stylistics album I have. The comps, the greatest hits, are always floating around in the charity shops in the UK. So if you've never heard them, it might be worth just having a check the charity shops there. Next up, I was finally got around to listening to Donna Summer's Bad Girls. Came out in 1979. It's her 7th album. This really represents particularly her charting peak. It was a number 1 album in the US, reached 23 in the UK, but it was jam-packed with hit singles. Hot Stuff, which got resurrected for the Full Monty, Bad Girls title track, Dim All the Lights. Sunset People, I think, was also released as a single. I'm not sure. It was a really successful album. As I said, it represented her peak. Let's see if I can get that bit of glare there. Not everyone was actually enamoured with her success. I do remember at the time, the Soviet Union weren't particularly keen on her success, and I think TASS, the news agency, sort of implied that she sort of funded her singing lessons by acting out the title, the theme of the album, and I'll say no more than that. Very heavily disco album, but then again, disco was the thing at that point. Disco was at its peak in '79. So yeah, what I liked about this double album was how the tracks all just seamed in. It's almost like it was a continuous mix, rather than you've got that plausible gap in between songs. They're just sort of. What's the best word to describe it? It sounded seamless. Finally got hold of a copy of T-Rex 1970 album. Now, whichever way you look at it, this is the first album released by the band under T-Rex, previously obviously known as Tyrannosaurus Rex. And it was marking that shift away from the acoustic to more the electric, acoustic folk to electric rock. Very good album, actually. I really enjoyed listening to it. It's an original on the Fly label. Let me see how the album opens up. Yeah, you got the total. Um, 1 Inch Rock is probably the best known track because that was released as a single. During the recording of the album, they recorded Ride a White Swan, which would be which was released separately. It was never included on the album, and that reached #2 in the UK. It was his first big hit single, and the band didn't really change their name to T-Rex until the time they released Ride a White Swan. They were still trained as Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's only when Ride a White Swan came out that they became T-Rex. Hence, and then the album came out afterwards. Very pleased to pick that up. I'm always good for these 2-for-1 albums, and I found one for Uriah Heep. So you've got that, Look at Yourself, the third album, and Very Heavy, Very Humble, the debut album. That was released originally in 1970, 1971. Again, a band that was not critically lauded. I think somebody in the Rolling Stones said that if this band were to make it, they'd kill themselves. Well, they did get very popular. Probably the better out of the albums is Look at Yourself. Now, just open up the package there. So you've got your 2 albums, and there. I've got similar albums package done by Magnum. But they did a few. Motorhead did Another Perfect Day, and Overkill came out in a package similar. Look at Yourself originally had a mirrored sleeve, but to get hold of these originals would cost a lot of money to find these. I'm not that much of a snob to not say no to them. Best known track on Very Heavy, Very Humble, Gypsy, the opening track, and July Morning, Look at Yourself. I think when David Byron died, Tommy Vance played that as a tribute on the Radio 1 Friday rock show. Again, changing genres. This is Frontline. It's a reggae compilation released by Virgin in 1976. And you've got on here the artists. You've got, let's have a look, Mighty Diamonds, U-Roy, I-Roy, Delroy Washington, Gladiators, the Gladiators, Mighty Diamonds, Johnny Clark. Very enjoyable listen, actually. Reggae, I probably stick to the more famous, so I probably need to delve in a little bit more. And this is a good place you can find it. I'd recommend you pick it up. Next album, Girls' School's Hit and Run, released in 1981. It was their second album. This was their biggest selling album, their top 5 in the UK. And this is riding on the back of the fact that they'd had a top 10 hit with Motorhead with their cover of Please Don't Touch. It was the last to feature the original lineup, but Enid Williams left the band towards the end of the year. Now, I originally had this when it first came out and played it to death. So I was really pleased to find another copy. What was even more pleasing, my copy was black vinyl. I found a red vinyl copy. I don't go out my way to find vinyl, different coloured vinyls. I'm not that particularly fussed, to be honest. But I saw it at that and I thought, you know what, I couldn't say no. It brings back some good memories of being a 16-year-old spotty youth. So there you go. Girls' School. Almost coming to the end. There's Tres Hombre, ZZ Top, the band's third album. And it was the first top 10 album in the US, released in 1973. Let me take it out here. Take some glare. There we go. A bit better. Drummer was Rube Beer, so he was obviously Frank Beard was calling himself by someone else at that point. Beer Drinkers, Hellraisers, Jesus Left Chicago, Lagrange. Um, some it's a great album actually, and when I post it on Facebook, I got a few very a lot of positive comments about it. So I was pleased with that. Pleased to have that. Um, and then I found it finally another ZZ Top album, Fandango, released in 1975. This is a mixture of a live and studio album. So side one was recorded at the Warehouse, New Orleans, which it featured live tracks. It was a medley jazz rock. Yeah, quite sounds really fresh. That live album. Side two, Nasty Dogs, Funky King, Blue Jean Blues, Balinese, Mexican Blurred, Heard It on the X, and then Tush, which is probably a well-known song, and it sort of links me back to Hit and Run by Ex Girl Schools, because they did a cover of Tush on that album as well. So yeah, my ZZ Top collection is sort of grown a lot. So there you go, VC. Hope you enjoyed what I have shown you. Hope everyone has a good weekend. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Love the interaction. Please, if you like to leave a comment, please do, and I'll get back to you. I will. I've got a couple I've got to catch up on. So VC, until the next time, take care of yourselves. Keep spinning, and more importantly, keep on smiling. Enjoy the sunshine if you've got access to it.